Welcome everybody to FanStream Sports, powered by DSP Media. This is the Fighting Irish Day Blitz, and I'm your host, Rob Fidoff, also known as RPT. You can find me on X at PFidoff. This is episode 133, but first things first, head over to our website at fanstreamsports.com for all additional podcast information. Please feel free to share that with your friends and family. So this will be the NCAA women's basketball preview, not just for Notre Dame, but how I think everything's going to unfold when all is said and done. Just an overall summary, Notre Dame finished 26-6, ACC tournament champs on a current 8-game winning streak and currently ranked 9th. Once we did win the ACC tournament, I thought we deserved a number 2 seed, but I thought we'd get a number 3 seed. That did not happen. We got the number 2 seed. However, we're in South Carolina's bracket, and South Carolina has been the dominant force in women's college basketball. The last 3 to 4 years, they've won a national title. They went to the Final Four last year, undefeated, but were upset by Iowa. And currently this year, they're ranked number 1, 32-0. We played our first game in Paris this year against South Carolina. Now, granted, that was the first game. KK Bransford was out, but we still had Emma Risch was still playing, Kylie Watson, and we lost by 30 points. We'll see. If we get to that point, we'll see how that game goes. But it's the Albany 1 regional. I want to give some general information of when Notre Dame is going to be playing. I was going to come on last night, but it wasn't known when Notre Dame was playing, what time, what channel. So here's the basics right here. So Saturday, March the 23rd, that's my dad's birthday. So happy birthday, Dad. Hopefully it's a Notre Dame women's basketball win. 2:15 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on ESPN. I repeat, this Saturday, March the 23rd, 2:15 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on ESPN. The game will be played in South Bend on Notre Dame's home court at Purcell Pavilion. If you're a top 4 seed, you get to host the first 2 games. That's if you win the first one. And Notre Dame, a number 2 seed, will be playing Kent State out of the MAC. This should be a win, but here's the thing. It is known now Kylie Watson did tear her ACL in the ACC tournament. And she obviously will be out. I think the surgery is scheduled for next month or in a couple weeks. So get well soon, Kylie Watts. I know I've been a big critic of yours this season, especially offensively, but you were playing great defense prior to that injury. And I hope you heal, come back better than ever next year, especially on the offensive side. But it does suck because that's a body. So right now we're down to 7 players and 1 walk-on. And it's really 6 because after KK Bransford, who will come off the bench, it's Becky Obinwa, and nothing against her, but she's a transfer from Pepperdine, I believe a grad transfer, but it is a body, don't get me wrong, but there's really no offensive threat at all. If we need someone to commit some fouls, she's going to have to do that. And we should win this game against Kent State. However, for any team we're playing, whether it's Kent State or South Carolina, if we get in foul trouble, it's going to get very interesting, especially if it's early foul trouble, going to get very interesting very soon. And that's the key right there. It doesn't matter. If there's foul trouble, it's going to get very interesting because this team is very limited in what they can do right now. I had mentioned before, the 2018 team only played 6 players, but that was a team with Arike Ogunawable, Jackie Young, Catherine Westfeld, Maddie Westfeld's sister, Marina Mabry, and Jessica Shepard. 4 out of those 5 had pretty solid WNBA careers, and to come off the bench was a solid player. She was a grad transfer, Coco Nelson, who gave solid minutes. But that team, even though this team's very good too, ACC champs, and that 2018 team didn't even win the ACC tournament. This team did, but it's still more talented than the team. For the 2018 team is more talented than the 2024 team. And that 2018 team had 4 ACL tears throughout the season. They only had 3 losses. I repeat, 4 ACL tears in the 2018 national championship team and only 3 losses. I'm hoping we can repeat that this year. I know we have had way too many injuries, and this team is just so limited right now. Maybe we make a run. So I want to first do how I think Notre Dame is going to do in the tournament, and how I think it's going to end up really. So here's the thing. Notre Dame, I think we will beat Kent State, obviously. But I said it before, if there's foul trouble, things are going to get interesting really quick. Kent State, we will win that game. And then next game, we're either going to play Ole Miss or Marquette. This will be also in South Bend at Purcell Pavilion, Notre Dame's home court. I think Ole Miss wins this game. And that's a team that could be very tricky because they have a pretty good inside game. They're horrible shooters, but from what I've done some research last night, they can get you in foul trouble pretty quick, and that's not a good sign for us, especially foul trouble inside. And we're so limited inside. Even if Kylie Watson would have come back, we were very limited in what we could do inside. However, I think because that game's at home, I think Coach Ivey will game plan around to not get into foul trouble. And I think we do win against Ole Miss and go into the Sweet 16. And I'm predicting we'll play Oregon State. I think as long as we stay out of foul trouble, you never can predict that. I think we can game plan around that. And Coach Ivey's done a pretty good job of that lately. We play the 3 seed Oregon State, and I think we win that game too. And then in the Elite 8, we play South Carolina, according to my prediction. And even if we play our best game, I think we could beat South Carolina, but it's just not the probability of us staying out of foul trouble. And even if we do stay out of foul trouble, they have so many good athletes on the court, South Carolina, the up and down game, and only going 6-7 deep. Stranger things have happened before, but I think that's our limit right there. I think we do lose to South Carolina in the Elite 8, which is still a hell of a run for how limited we are with the injuries that we do have. But I also want to say here, if we do beat South Carolina, I do have a prediction because like other people too, I fill out, like on the men's side, I fill out 10 brackets, and then I have one where I actually bet some money on where I think is my best chance to win. For the women, I fill out about 5 brackets and then fill out one where I think is actually going to be the case of who's going to be the champion. But here, like if Notre Dame would go past South Carolina, this is how I think it would end up. I would say Notre Dame would play Texas in the Final Four, and then USC would play UCLA. If you think about that, that looks like if there was a college football playoff back in the old days, that would be a great college football playoff. Notre Dame against Texas, UCLA against USC, very old school football powers, even though the college football playoff is going to 12 teams next year. I would say Notre Dame would play Texas, and then USC plays UCLA. And then in the finals, I have Notre Dame playing USC of all teams. That's our big football rival. I'd have Notre Dame over USC. That's because I always have a bracket where I pick the team that I root for, my entire life. I've always done that when the men are in the March Madness tournament. And I was always an Indiana fan also. They were not over Notre Dame, but back in the day when both those teams were in tournaments, I would always go with a Notre Dame winning it, Indiana winning it. But with the women, they've always been in contention for a national title. So that's a no-brainer there anyway, to at least have Notre Dame winning it as well. But if Notre Dame goes to the Final Four, I've got Notre Dame against Texas, and then USC playing UCLA, and then Notre Dame beating USC of all teams in the Final Four. And that'd be pretty sweet to have a championship like that with our football rival. And I think like USC, this is the first time they're really even in contention. They're a number 1 seed, but I think it's since 1986 when Cheryl Miller, when they were in the Final Four about every year, it seemed. I think that's the last time they were a number 1 seed in the Final Four. I could be wrong there, but I'm pretty sure of that right there. So how do I think, though, this tournament is going to take shape? How I really think. The one, if I want to put money on it, this is what, and a lot of people are going to be shocked by this. So I'm going to go back to my picks here. So this is how I think it's going to unfold. My Final Four, if I had to put money on it right now, this is how I think it shapes out. So in our region, the Albany region, South Carolina, and then I have South Carolina playing Stanford in the first semifinal game. And the semifinals will be played in Cleveland, Ohio, my home state. And then the second one, I have Iowa playing UConn. I repeat, Iowa playing UConn. And then the finals, I have South Carolina playing UConn, and then UConn winning it all. I know UConn's not the power that they used to be for years. They were the power for women's college basketball. The last couple years, they've been down. They have not won a title since 2016. They were undefeated in 2018, and Notre Dame upset them to then go on to the finals and win the 2018 title. But here's the thing. When I was looking at this last night, and Gino Auriemma is one of the greatest women's college basketball coaches of all time, when he has a lull in titles, eventually he gets on another run. Now, I'm not saying he's going to get on another run, but if you look at the way it's shaped out throughout his career, he won his first title with UConn women's basketball in 1995. They do not win anything until 2000, but then they win a title in 2000, and then 2002, 2003, 2004. They get on a little run. Then they have a little break. They're still very competitive, number one seeds here and there, but they do not win another title until 2009. And then they win another one in 2010. They go on a little lull where they do not have a title, but they're still a powerhouse. They do not win another title. And that was the thing too. 2011, Notre Dame beat them. And then not for the title, but in the, I think it was either I believe that was in the Elite Eight or in the Final Four, but I digress. But in 2011, they do not win it. 2012, I do remember Notre Dame beat them in the Final Four. So 2011, 2012, they do not win a title. In 2013, Notre Dame beats them 3 times, twice in the regular season in the Big East, and then the Big East tournament championship. That's when we were in the Big East before the ACC. And you got to think Gino Auriemma is not going to lose 3 times to a team like Notre Dame, and it didn't. We play in the Final Four, and it's tough enough to beat a team once or twice. You can't beat a great at the time, a decent UConn team. And that's when they had Breanna Stewart as a freshman. And after that game where we lost to UConn in the semifinals of the Final Four in 2013, they win the Final Four. And they win it. So then 2013, they win it, 2014, 2015, 2016. He wins 4 in a row. Brianna Turner wins 4 national titles in a row. And that's a great achievement, whether it's women's or men's college basketball. That's insane to win 4 titles in 4 years. Well, that's what they did. And they've been on a lull ever since then. They made some Final Fours. They made some championships, but they haven't done it. And maybe he's maxed out on his titles, but I think he has one more run left in him. He's still a fairly young guy, and this team has Paige Beckers this year. They didn't have it this year. So in their bracket right now, they're going to play Ohio State in the Sweet 16 probably. And I think they remember last year, Ohio State took it to them pretty well. They couldn't handle Ohio State's pressure, but Paige Beckers didn't play last year either. They have 2 really solid point guards right now, and I think they beat Ohio State. I think they beat them. I don't say it's a blowout, but I think it's about 10 to 12 points. I don't think it comes down to the wire. And I truly think UConn I don't know if they're going to have a 2-3 national championship run after I predict them to win it this year, but Gino's due. And I think he's going to be locked and loaded, pretty focused. I'm thinking his team's going to it's going to be pretty focused too, because they've heard all year, there's so much college parity. That's the ironic thing too. I'm picking UConn. All you've heard from me this past year is tons of college parity in the women's game. 8 to 10 teams could win it, if not more. But how ironic that would be, a college power in the past, UConn, wins it this year after we kept hearing all year long, including for me, that it's going to be a non-UConn team winning the and it's not even, it's just, it seems like it's a matter of fact. It's a lock that UConn will not win it this year. They're a good team, but not a great team. They can't compete with these 8 or 9 other teams. I just started thinking about this last night. It's been a while since Gino's gone on a run, and I'm going to say it right now. I have UConn winning it this year. I could be wrong. We shall see. I hope I'm dead wrong and Notre Dame wins it over USC, but we shall see. But back to Notre Dame, I just think I kept thinking, when I kept thinking we're going to be a 3 seed in another bracket, I thought probably Sweet 16 is the best. But this draw, if we stay out of foul trouble, the road to the Elite Eight's pretty, I don't want to say easy, but it's doable. I see us getting to the Elite Eight no problem if we stay out of foul trouble. But that's a big if, because we only got about 6 to 7 players. But like I said before, 2018, 4 ACL tears, 3 losses, and we won the national title. I hope we can do another run like that before, because I tell you what, this team's really hot right now. The only bad side is we've had a 2-week break since that ACC tournament championship, and we're on an 8-game winning streak. I wish we could have went in just with a week off to not kill that momentum, but we shall see. I hope I'm wrong on this, but if Notre Dame were to win the title, I say we beat USC, but I'm thinking UConn's going to has something to prove this year. I think Gino is he always is. I mean, he's always locked and loaded. That guy. I'm trying to think of the word right now, but he's if he hasn't won one in a while, he's a man on a mission. That's the word I was looking for. He's a man on a mission. And I would not put it past him. Whenever I think UConn's not going to be a power anymore, like in 2013, 2012, he wins 4 in a row. So we shall see. But that's my prediction for both Notre Dame and how I think it's really going to end up for the NCAA women's basketball tournament, played here, or not here, but in Ohio. It's at Cleveland, 2 hours away from me. So good luck to all the teams. Good luck to Notre Dame especially. And let's shock the world, and we'll see what happens. So thank you so much for joining me for episode 133. And as always, go Irish.